everybody, I'm Michelle Roy of Dragonfly Wellness, and this is Wellness Wednesday. So today is part 4 in a multi-part video series that I'm doing on the 8 limbs of yoga. So today we are up to limb number 4, Pranayama. So prana has multiple meanings. It's a very complex concept in yoga philosophy. So this limb is breathing practice. Prana refers to the breath, the air we breathe, that's prana. It also refers to prana with a capital P, the life energy that animates us, that gives life to our animals, the plants, the trees, this vibrant energy that's alive in everything. Right? That's the life energy, prana. It comes to us via the breath, right? We know that, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. So that's why those two things are kind of interwoven, and they're separate but also whole at the same time. Yama, pranayama. So yama, we know from our first limb, means restraint. So it directly translates as breath restraint. Breath control, it was known as, 25 years ago, that was more commonly used. I'm not a fan of that word. But I think not only me, but in today's contemporary terms, we interpret it more as breathing practice, because there are many practices of this prana, working with the prana, breathing practices that serve us in the yoga practice. Okay, so this concept of prana, let's come back to that life energy part of it. The air, even prana, right? Because think about it, we can go for many, many days without food. We can go for several days without water, but we cannot be without the air for very long at all, mere minutes. And then the life energy goes out of the body, right, if we're without air. So these two things are closely linked together, right? The vehicle for the prana, the life force, to come into the body is via prana, the breath. And so we do these different practices, and there are all these different practices, and they serve us in different ways. Some breaths bring us energy, some breaths calm us down, some breaths prepare us for meditation, some breaths activate different channels in the body. There's all kinds of things, all kinds of ways that these practices serve us in the yoga practice. And the irony of it is that we learn all these practices so that we can ultimately let them go. And it's kind of like, prana is a powerful thing. It's a powerful thing to work with. If you're going to do breathing practice, please do it with a well-trained teacher and be respectful of it. This is a powerful force you're working with, like electricity, or, some people liken it to, taming a wild cobra or something. Like, it's legit. If you have ever had the experience of doing breath work and maybe getting a little lightheaded or dizzy or anxious or having things come up, sometimes people sweat, like there's all kinds of things that can happen. Breath work is so powerful. It's very cleansing for the body. It's very calming for the mind. There's many, many, many wonderful things that come from learning to breathe well. And we breathe with the whole body. I know people talk about this, but we actually do. The muscles that we use to breathe connect all the way down into the pelvic floor. It's part of your whole body is breathing. Every cell in the body needs this prana, this life energy, to come into the body via the air that we breathe. So why do we want to learn it all just to let it go? That's the beauty of it, right? It's just like in asana, which was our last limb, right? The physical practice of yoga. We can't just go around telling people, okay, relax your arms, relax your legs, because most of us are wandering around with the muscles kind of in some form of half tense all the time. We don't know it because we're carrying this stress subconsciously, but those muscles are all, most of us have our fight or flight system in the body is triggered all the time now, just because of all the stresses and the non-stop plugins that we're always plugged in, and non-stop information that has us all kind of hovering a little bit. So that feels normal to you. So you don't know how to relax your muscles. So what we would say is like, okay, ready? We're gonna tense the arms, hold the muscles strong, ready? And now relax the arms. And then you can feel the relaxation in the muscles and you say, ah, that's what a relaxed muscle feels like. Same thing with the breath. We do all of these practices to learn how to breathe deeply and get these muscles to work more efficiently and all that so that we can let it go. As we move into our next limb, which is Pratyahara, sense withdrawal. And we'll get to that next week. But this starts to take us there as we let go of that and we learn to just be witness to this breath coming in and out of the body. And that's what starts to take us to these more subtle limbs, these more esoteric limbs. And that, I would like to point this out, it mirrors the energetic centers known as the chakras in the body, right? The lower three chakras are more physical based, earth, water, fire, and they're related to things here in the earth realm, okay? We get to the heart. The heart is the great meeting place between the earth and the heavens, okay? It's where, this is where our prana lives in the body, right? The air comes into the lungs, the organs that are designed to process this beautiful prana so that we can use it as prana, the energy in the body, right? All of that happens here in the heart. And then we move into the more subtle energy centers that aren't associated with any elements. I mean, we get to the throat and that's ether, that's everything around us, right? And then the others are just higher chakras that are energy based. Same thing is true with the limbs. Those first limbs are about navigating and living in the earth realm, in the world. And then we get to pranayama, and pranayama becomes the gateway to those more subtle limbs, where it becomes more about the sitting practice, right? And we can almost mirror those limbs straight across, right? And I'll talk more about that in a future video. But I would like you to have it in your consciousness as we go through this, that there are many threads of continuum in the yogic philosophy, and it comes up again and again and again in all these different ways. And that's one way that they mirror one another. So the simplest pranayama is to let your breath do what it does and simply watch. See if you can become a witness to the breath. That's the first step. And then you can learn all these breathing practices that serve us, some, give us energy, some calm us down, some center us for meditation. Every breathing practice has an important purpose. And once you learn those and you learn how to master that breath, right, then you can let it go. That's the beautiful thing about the pranayama. All right, everybody. So pay attention to your breath. I do have a workshop coming up next month that is all about pranayama. So if you're local to Sarasota and you're interested in joining that, please stay tuned for more info on that. All right, everybody, have a fantastic Wednesday, and I'll see you again next week. Namaste.